J-Drone here. This is my Aosenma monster. Well, it's not totally monstered out. I don't got the Walkera gimbal on it. I do, however, have a $30 access cam on it. That was what was doing my recording. If you want to check that out, look at my other videos. I have raw videos from it. As you can see here, left lights on the left are your GPS lights, which are not off yet, but we're going to make them go off. The right ones are off. The way I make the GPS light go off, just kind of fly it up. We're going to give you just a rough flight of this. So rough slight comparison to the Bugs 3, and also really good look at this drone. This is my favorite drone. You guys know I have tons of drones. I have the Phantom, I have the Parrot, I have the Hubsan GPS drone, I have tons of toy grades, I have a bunch of different brushless drones. This is by far my favorite. Bugs 3 is creeping up on it, but I don't think it's ever going to get it, just for the simple fact this has way more features than the Bugs 3 and does what the Bugs 3 does. Pitch rate, I think the Bugs 3 has this on pitch rate. Other than that, I think this drone has the Bugs 3 hand in hand as far as flyability goes. As far as speed, I think they're about tied. Flight time, for me, they're about tied. And note, this is not a full flight video. We brought this down when the low voltage was going off, but I did have this out for about 2 to 3 minutes extra, so probably looking at about total time on this battery 12 to 13 minutes, which is what I'm averaging with the Bugs 3 and the Aosenma. As you can see, the light just went out all the way to the left. It was blinking. GPS is held. GPS is locked. That's the way I get it to lock. So if you're having issues just sitting on the ground waiting for the light to go out, pop it up. Make sure your second switch is on too. That'll have you an altitude hold. That'll be some type of assist for you. Pop it up in the sky, and eventually that GPS light will go out. It does take a while. This is not a $500 drone. I think it retailed roughly for about $250, $300. Myself, 160 all day USA. I have a bunch of these. I bought a bunch of these. 160 shipped USA. If you're outside the United States, you can contact me. We'll put it on eBay, and you will have to pay for the shipping though. But again, GPS lock. This drone works as it should. Are there glaring quality control errors from the factory? Absolutely. I check every single one that I send out that I've purchased, and I've come across maybe out of 10 to 20, maybe 2 to 3 that had issues, whether they had the wrong parts in them, had a motor binded up because there was a freaking screw inside of it. Then just slight issues like that. And I do the quality control on my part, but I know there is quality control issues. But if you get a good one of these, you need to learn the drone before you fly it. Learn all your switches before you fly it. Learn where to fly, how to fly, and when to fly with this drone, as you should with any drone. You shouldn't be flying near buildings. You shouldn't be flying over buildings with a GPS drone because they're highly magneticism affects GPS drones greatly. Yeah, we want to get the best shots. We want aerial footage over top of buildings. We want aerial footage over top of car graveyards and whatnot. It's really not safe. The Volkswagen graveyard, the abandoned Volkswagen graveyard, and GPS working, as you can see again. Volkswagen graveyard that I did, my Phantom was flying odd. It wanted to yaw one direction, but I was literally surrounded by hundreds of VWs, and it was drawing some type of magnetic pull that it constantly wanted to keep yawing. So keep that in mind. You really should be flying basically where I'm flying. I'm flying in the middle of a field. There's not much meadow out here. Yeah, there's a pole behind me, and there's buildings behind me and whatnot. Here's a look at the range, guys. This thing can go. This thing has epic range like the Bugs 3 has epic range. But yeah, I really like this drone. I think anybody who would fly this drone would really like this drone if they knew how to fly it properly and if they got a good one. And the reason I say if they got a good one, because again, I refer back to the quality control issues that came out of the factory. When you mass produce millions of drones, I promise you some are going to come off the assembly line screwed up, even if they did quality check them. Some of the quality checkers are probably going to screw up when you produce millions of drones. That's just the way it is. Bugs 3, you really don't have to worry about quality control issues that I've noticed. I have heard about 2 to 3 people that have had flyaways. And that's, again, it goes back to assembly line production. When you're producing millions of drones, eventually you're going to have stuff that does not fly right, that came off the assembly line poorly. So you definitely have to be aware of that. Definitely make sure you have fresh batteries in your controller. Make sure you're doing your pre-flight check. With the Aosenma, you really need to check those motor screws which are underneath the light covers. Make sure they're snug and tight. Go over the rest of your body screws. It's not going to hurt anything to go over them. Just don't torque them too tight that you strip the holes. Same thing with any other drone. You really should be doing a pre-flight on it. Make sure your propellers are on tight. Make sure all your screws are on tight. Hover off the ground for a little bit. Make sure it's going to sit steady and it's not going to fly awkward. If it does fly awkward, you need to sit down and you probably need to recalibrate it. And this video we're shooting, as you can see, we have dark on bottom, really crisp daytime up top. One of my YouTubers said you need to get a better cam on your head cam. I like my head cam. It's a Vivitar cheap head cam, just for the simple fact that it loads quickly and it is shooting in 1080p. It's not shooting in crisp 1080p, but it's shooting in 1080p, and when I go to edit it, it loads automatically. When I go to edit this 4K cam that I'm actually using right now that adjusts the light and dark really well, it takes a while for my computer to dumb down to 4K to 1080p because I don't have a 4K computer. I don't have any devices in my house that run off of 4K besides the head cam that I'm using. So that's why I generally use the head cam that I use. And again, the access cam, the camera that's on this drone that shot epic footage throughout this entire flight, is a $30 camera, $30 or under. I got it for $22 when it was on sale on Amazon, and then after they sold a couple, they jumped it up, I think, to maybe $28, and it might be sitting at $30 right now. But it is comparable to any of your other action cams that shoot 1080p, and it's like half the cost, a third of the cost. It's definitely worth grabbing. It is not my go-to camera. My go-to camera is the 4K one on top of my head. Then I have, I believe it's a LegalZone or a LegalZone 1080p that my wife got me for Christmas. And then I'd say this is probably it. My GoPro I generally have standard for my Walkera gimbal. It holds it nicely, and the Walkera gimbal takes a hex screwed undo, so generally my GoPro is fixed on that. Although I do have a chest mount for it now, so we might be playing around with that. We're going to go ahead and sit this down manually. There is a 3-button push that you can push, but as you can see here, I am pulling down on the stick that'll shut the motors down. I'm going to throw this switch up to 1. Both of my switches are on 1, so this is going to be basically how the Bugs flies without no assist. And there's your punch, and there's a punch outwards. Prior to this flight right here where I set it down and took it up again, that was in GPS and altitude hold mode. Now we are in speed mode. We're in aggressive mode, where you can actually fly this fairly quickly and you don't have to worry about the GPS pulling it, the altitude hold, trying to keep it at 1 altitude. You're good to go with this. So if you want to fly fast, both switches on 1. If you want to cruise, take nice aerial footage, left switch on 2, right switch on 1. This thing has speed to it. I really like this drone a lot. It's an embodied battery where you have to charge, and it takes a while to charge like most of your 2S batteries do. And we do, as you can see there, I kind of let the left stick drop, and it dropped. This drone has some weight on it, especially with the camera. If you don't have altitude hold mode engaged and your drone's bouncing up and down, that's probably why. It's probably because you don't have it engaged. And if you want to engage, again, left switch drop to 2, right switch up at 1. As you can see, I'm able to buzz around here really quickly, 0 issues. This is a really fun drone to fly. If you guys need help with this, I'm not going to say I'm a professional on this drone, but I do know a professional on this drone. He knows a lot more than I do on this drone, despite the fact of me knowing a lot on this drone. Get at me. If I can't answer your question, chances are my friend can, and he's happy to. If you're on Facebook, if you're not on Drone Days, I don't know what's wrong with you. Go ahead and click the link down below. Click join. I'll accept you. Great group of guys there. We're going to double press this. It's going to do an auto land, and it's going to come down quick. Fortunately, I have those legs on it that it bounce because we're not in altitude hold mode. I'm J-Drone. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button, do me a favor. Bing! Click that subscribe button. And fly safe and have a wonderful day.